Damien Delaney, good morning to you.
Morning, lads. How are you?
How are you getting on? We'll get stuck into Tottenham and everything that's happening there, Jose and all that, in just a few minutes, and looking ahead to the weekend of Premier League as well. But just wanted to touch on briefly with you. You were on with us, obviously, after the Ireland game, and your suggestion that Stephen Kenny could come in a little bit early, or that he should come in a little bit early at Mick McCarthy's expense ahead of the playoffs. I don't know if you paid much of attention to the reaction to it, but not getting a lot of support.
Yeah, listen, Mick's obviously going to be able to finish out the job that he started. But if you look at the qualifying campaign that we've just had, which is the 8 games, there's no way that you could qualify it as a success. I don't think there's anything in it that would make, say, finishing third in the group. We scored 7 goals in 8 games. We won 3 games. We had a catastrophically low amount of possession. If you set the bar of Martin O'Neill, the end of Martin O'Neill's era, then yes, Mick has improved it. But I think we as a nation need to start taking ourselves more seriously, believing ourselves in a little bit more, and that will progress. Football's moved forward. It keeps moving. We are now a tier 3 nation, or a pot 3 nation, and the pot 4 teams, the likes of Georgia, are improving all the time. I remember, 10 years ago when we played Georgia, it was pretty much I won't say it was a slam dunk 6 points, but it was, if we didn't take 6 points off Georgia 10 years ago, we'd be very, very upset. Now people were kind of saying Georgia are a really good side, they're difficult to beat. That's because they're progressing and we're standing still. So they're catching up to us and we're standing still. So perhaps it was my impatience the other night where I just said, because I want to get moving, we have to join the 21st century of football nations. We have to join the plan of progressing and playing football the right way. When Mick McCarthy applies the tactics that he applies, he doesn't have a Robbie Keane at the end of it to put the ball in the back of the net or to finish it off the way we used to have, well, then I just think that we're kind of banging our heads against the brick wall. Now, somehow we are in a playoff. I don't think anybody really knows how or why, but we are. It's going to be a difficult route to take. But my point the other night was we need to kind of get with the programme. We have to start moving forward. We have to start believing in ourselves a little more. Michael O'Neill did a fantastic job at Shamrock Rovers getting them into the group stages of the Europa League, and then Northern Ireland took the plunge with him, and he's been an unqualified success. I don't subscribe to the people that come in and say, oh, well, Stephen Kenny, he's unproven at this level, or the players might not believe in him because he's not managed at the highest level. That is absolute rubbish. I cannot subscribe to that. Stephen Kenny done a fantastic job at Dundalk, and he's doing a fantastic job at the under-21s. And it's very easy for people to also say, oh, well, he's got a great under-21s team. There's been plenty of great under-21 teams over the years when you look at the players that have played and never even came close to qualifying for a major tournament. What I like about Stephen Kenny is his demeanour, his confidence. He will not accept second place. He does not play for draws. He's not interested in that. And I just think that before the Denmark game, am I right in saying that Mick McCarthy was asked, would you accept the draw now? And he said something along the lines of, I'd rip up the boarding card. Which is, not a great thing to say, to send out to your players. But bearing in mind, we're a pot 3 nation, right? And we were in a group with Switzerland and Denmark. I mean, Switzerland and Denmark now. I'm not talking like other teams' groups, North of Ireland, where they've got Holland and Germany. Real powerhouses of Europe. So I think the best for us moving forward, to hope for, is to get into a pot with a Switzerland and a Denmark. Because if we, for instance, get lumped in a nation with a Holland or a Germany or a France or an Italy or Spain, well, then we've got absolutely no chance. And the only way we're going to get back to being a pot 2 nation is by being successful. But all the while, we're not being successful. We're finding it more and more difficult. And as I said before, the pot 4 teams are catching us up now. So the longer we wait, and yes, it probably was my impatience, and Mick was brought in to do a job, and in all seriousness or in all fairness, he should be allowed to finish it off, and he will be allowed to finish it off. Of course he will. But my point was, we need to join the 21st century and start moving forward. And I didn't feel that we did the other night. So in all fairness, that's how I feel about it. That's how we see it. I think Stephen Kenny is definitely the man for the job. I remember when they played a very, very good Italy under-21 side not so long ago, Tala. I never heard anything negative come out of his mouth about playing for draws or, how great the opposition were. He was talking about how good Ireland were. And as a player, that's what we want to hear from. As a player, that's what you want to hear a manager say, that he genuinely believes in you. But when a manager's saying that he's going to rip up a boarding card, as a player, it was Denmark away. Not Italy away or not Spain away or none of the major powerhouses. So look, anyway, that's how I felt about it, man. I'm not really worried whether people bought into it or not. That was my general point. Perhaps I didn't get across that on the night, and I was a little bit emotional after the game because of the result and the fact that everyone was saying how good Ireland played, and we played okay. Let's just get it that way. And we were playing against a Danish team that essentially came for a draw. They had no interest in pressing us. So when we did string 2 or 3 passes together, they didn't press. They didn't run forward. They didn't pass forward. I lost count the amount of times Eriksson got the ball in his usual position and turned out and went backwards. So they clearly had a game plan coming to Dublin. So that's how I feel, lads. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but that's how I see it.
No, that's fair enough. I think that one of the biggest things that I think people leaving the ground the other night were kind of saying that, if we can, and I'm interested to get your thoughts on it before we move on to talk about the weekend, but that, if we can repeat that performance against Slovakia or Northern Ireland, or whoever it ends up being along this path, and you've already said yourself there that it's going to be a difficult path for us, that if we can repeat that performance, that we will probably get there. Are you feeling that? It sounds like you're not.
Not at all. We had 8 qualifying games. And the last one, we put in a semi-decent performance. And let's not get carried away, man. If the bar is set so low and then we put in a good performance or a semi-decent performance against Denmark, and it was a good performance, it was okay. But you got to remember where the Danes were at. They were happy with a draw. They were definitely playing for a draw. So if we repeat that performance twice, well then, yes, we probably have a chance. But we did it once in 8 games. Are we going to string 2 together back to back? Maybe, man. But look, the sooner that we move forward, and I love Mick, I genuinely do, and it's not a personal attack on Mick. I don't feel any ill will towards him, and I think he's had a fantastic career as a manager, and he's done brilliant. But he's done the job that he was brought in to do as well, because he's come in and he's managed the Irish team the way he said he was going to. It's just unfortunately football has moved forward, and he doesn't have a Robbie Keane. So the way he went about it, we've come up short so far. Granted, we have a playoff to come, and then if Ireland qualify, I'll be as happy as anyone. I genuinely will, because we all get to look forward to a major tournament. And, after that, then Stephen Kenny will come in and hopefully he can restore some real belief in the players and install some real belief in the fans as well.
I guess that idea of kind of breaking the glass ceiling whenever possible to actually finish above a Tier 1 or a Tier 2 nation is probably hammered home as well by the fact that there was a safety net of this playoff. We were always going to get the playoff. Gibraltar are the only team who didn't get the playoff in this group. It was almost the perfect marriage of things to allow us to take that risk.
Well, exactly. And if there was ever a time to move forward and play football and join the 21st century, this is it. Because you can afford to almost fail, because I think the last qualifying campaign was a failure in terms of the 8 games. Now we move into a playoff scenario, so we should move forward and play football. What's there to lose? If we're still going to end up in playoffs, and with the expanded tournaments, it's becoming easier to qualify for major tournaments because the tournaments are getting expanded. But it's becoming more difficult for us because we're falling off the pace so much.